There is a stoush simmering over the crewing of Gisborne's fire station, with the union claiming it has been left unstaffed. The union says for just over an hour yesterday there was no one at the main fire station, and that meant the city was vulnerable in an emergency. On Thursday morning, all available firefighters were dampening down hotspots at a large shed fire that took hold overnight and took some time to get under control. Off-duty staff were called in to cover the station while the rostered crew was dealing with the aftermath of the blaze. But the union says off-duty firefighters can only cover for a maximum of 3 hours. So when they timed out, the Gisborne station was left empty. Not true, says Fire and Emergency. It says the station was never without cover, and if there had been another alarm, it would have called in more off-duty firefighters and volunteers from other stations in the area. New Zealand Professional Firefighters Union National Secretary Watty Watson joins us now. Hi, Watty.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good, but this is a bit confusing. Was the station attended or unattended, or what was the situation?
No, there was over an hour where there was no one on station. They didn't have the crews there. They brought in the crews for 3 hours. They knew that after those 3 hours they would either have to keep them on or bring in other crews. Some of them were going to work that night shift, so some of them wouldn't have been able to stay on. But they didn't do anything for an hour. So there was an hour, and this firefighter confirmed it. There was an hour where there were no firefighters on Gisborne Station.
Okay, there's a couple of things in there, Watty. So a station unattended is different to having no firefighting capacity. So the Fire and Emergency says, yep, there were people they could have called in if anything had happened.
Well, that's the whole point of having career firefighters on station, is so they're there to respond and respond quickly. They've got to get to an incident within 8 minutes. If there is a medical emergency, firefighters respond to 98% of all out-of-hospital cardiac arrests in New Zealand. Those minutes are very, very precious and will make the difference between someone possibly being resuscitated or not. So Gisborne is a 24/7 career fire station. FENZ has reneged on the previous agreement to increase the crew numbers on Gisborne Station to 2 full crews every shift.
And full crews every shift. How many people is that, Watty?
That's 8.
And they can operate how many fire trucks?
So they would operate 2 fire trucks if you had the 2 full crews.
So you need four people a truck, do you, to be able to go
correct.
out? Okay.
Yeah, so that's necessary for what you've got to do on the incident ground.
And you have what at the moment at Gisborne?
So they have 6. And since 2013, there's been a promise that they would increase them to the proper 2 full crews. So in Gisborne, they rely very, very heavily on the off-duty firefighters coming back like they did the other morning for callbacks or for overtime, or just to fully staff the second truck if it needs to go.
The Fire and Emergency says it's given additional funding to increase crew numbers at Gisborne with professional firefighters by 9, bringing it to a total of 37. Do you agree with those figures?
Well, they've agreed for this a long time ago, but they've just stopped the recruit course that was going to have 3 of those new firefighters on it in January, and we've got another recruit course in jeopardy. So they're not telling the truth.
So how long realistically before you get them?
Well, I don't think we are getting them. If they're not going to hold the recruit courses when people have passed the pre-entrance to get in and are available to do that course, we might lose those recruits. They might not be available at another time. And we've got no indication from FENZ that they're actually going to follow through on those additional firefighters. But we've got a staffing issue across the country. And so when we settled our last collective agreement in 2023, there was an agreement in principle that resulted for another 230 odd additional firefighters around the country to keep the fire stations open and the trucks crewed. And FENZ haven't said they've walked away from that, but given that they are cancelling recruit courses, they were supposed to go to 6 recruit courses. We've now only got 3 instead of the usual 4. It's a pretty clear message. We're not getting those firefighters.
Watty, we're almost out of time. How critical do you reckon this situation is?
It's pretty bad. It's really bad. In some areas, it's pretty bad. There's a massive problem with the trucks as well. There needs to be a review of the expenditure of FENZ and what they're doing, because they are driving that fire service into the ground.
Appreciate your time, Wattie. That is Wattie Watson, National Secretary for the New Zealand Professional Firefighters Union.